The panel is finally back in place. I had a spare panel there. I sourced the holder for upper switches, so these are done right, so the panel can be removed and switches can be also removed. I was gonna do them permanently, well, more or less permanently, but you know, I decided to do it the right way. I also had some set of switches laying over there, I believe, or somewhere, whatever. It's just like pieces over there. I managed to find a plug and I soldered all the pins and the plastic holder so I can connect this very button. This is your snow chain. So now everything works, panels in place. The radio I will deal with later. It's not the critical piece, because secondary thing is the secondary panel here. This is where switches are. I have to order a couple of them and what have you. This is the panel for window switches, and I have to glue them all. But today I'm working on the door panel. I want to finish the door panel and window regulator. I removed window regulator, and there are some pieces of Teflon left on sliders. That's a good thing, so we're keeping them. And let's go over and look at the actual, well, glass obviously had to come out, and then regulator comes out. So all of that is removed, and the panel in itself, this was all ripped anyways. This is before me. I don't really do this like this. This is butchering, but at least it's here, so we can put it back together, so it will serve its purpose for the most part of it. At least sound deadening. Moisture barrier not so much, but the doors, and they're not perfectly sealed anyway. So now what we have here, we have the actual glass, the window, right? So the window is where the metal, the plastic slider was all broken. So this thing it's stuck in there pretty good, barely moving actually. So no wonder it broke, because lubrication dried up. So good news is that the ridge, the edge, more or less is, I think I can reuse it. I'm gonna file it, of course. I'm gonna grind it down a little bit, so we save this ridge, so I can put a new insert. Here is a new insert. It's a new plastic piece, and that goes inside and it slides in and out. But before I do that, obviously I have to clean all the old grease, and I have to install this on the regulator. Moving along to the regulator, my biggest concern with the regulator was the two concerns here. Well, actually, biggest concern are the rivets. You know, the rivets on the regulator, the weld points, the spot welds, what have you, whatever you want to call them. Spot welds over here seem to be okay, more or less. You know, there's a little motion. Obviously, it's an old regulator, but it'll still live. Same here, welds are good. Small concern I have here is with this piece. This is the one I was talking about, because as you can see, it is moving. Obviously, we do not want this to break, and this is the secondary. It's not a guide, it's more like an adjustment, so that you can move the glass in and out to adjust the actual glass positioning, the window positioning inside the actual door. So here you got elongated openings, so the bolt can slide in and out. This is where it bolts in, right here, as you can see. So that's to adjust the window forward and backwards. So I'm gonna try to bang on it and whatever. I'm gonna try to free it up. I mean, it's not frozen, that's a good thing, but I want to lubricate this, of course, and then bang it up. So this piece is stationary in there, and the adjuster itself moves against the actual rivet. And of course, this is where this piece is supposed to go, right? Obviously, this has to be taken away, and then this has to be pressed in place. So we have new plastic slide, a guide slide, what have you. Rivets, of course, also they have to be steel rivets. So regulator sits in the door panel. Good. I have two different types, just in case. Long ones, short ones, bigger and smaller. And these are the ones that we need. Rivets, obviously, are good ones. And we're about to be set for now. I'm gonna work on this regulator. I do really want to finish the actual door panel, because this is annoying. It sits in the back. Once I finish the door panel, it's gonna look much nicer. I can't look at it like this. This is terrible. Window regulator will work. At least the two front windows will be working. The rears, I'll deal with them later. And then I want to finish up with the window switches, right? That panel, I want to deal with that. This very panel right here. We're missing a switch. I do have some switches on some of my parts panels I have. See, like I have this parts panel here. Switches are in there, all right, but of course it is not ideal by any means. I might source this switch from this panel because you're missing it. Child lock, right? Window switches. See, the thing is that well, all right, well, maybe, just maybe. This is a 4-door car window switch panel, and a 4-door car, you have windows, and this is from a 94. As you can see, the icons, the actual pictures of windows, left side, right side, they face opposite, right? This is facing this way, and this one is facing that way. Now on your panel here, 2 rear switches, they both face the same way. You know, the picture of the actual window, you see? They both face the other way. So I don't really want to mismatch it. So basically, one switch that you have that wasn't missing, which is on this door right here. First of all, it has a little wear to it, right? And it faces that way. So switches that I have, a good one faces the other way, so it's gonna look kind of funny, you know. One faces one way, the other faces the other way, and the bottom ones, they face one way, so it's just like weird. This one is kind of doesn't feel right. This feels more like it, but it's broken. So you see that I don't, this is perfect switch right here. So I would rather buy a replacement switch because I'm gonna have to glue it. So once I glue it, then they're not coming off for like a long time. So for that very reason, you want to put best things that you can have and permanently glue it and keep that panel in there for decades. That's the idea. So that's my point. But yeah, window regulator, because the door panel itself is all finished. I tighten it all up and, you know, get everything together, so everything is nice and ready, and I know no more rattling inside, so all of that is on point. And that's what I want to put in. I don't want it to sit there. That's what I'm working on. All right, so once that's done, we're gonna move on the parts list for the engine, because AC is good, radio is gonna be very last, suspension also, springs, and then that's it. About, you know, we're coming along. Rear headrest and the rear shade, we don't have a switch for rear shade. I have to buy that switch also, even though if it works or if it doesn't, I don't know even, but we still need that switch to fill the opening, because we can't have just like you know, that opening is just hideous. You can't just leave it like that, you know, the panel with a hole in it, you know, just like that. So I'm gonna have to buy the switch for the roller blade, a roller blind they call them, that rear piece. Battery's still dying, so I keep having my charger connected to it, so we have you know, so we have some juice when I work on the vehicle, and we'll move on. All right, so I'm gonna get to that window regulator next. I'm gonna get to work on that, and then we'll move on. I'll keep you posted.